After looking into actually leaving the country because of everything going on right now, I completely understand illegal immigration. I completely understand illegal immigration. I'm about to be an illegal immigrant. I ain't gonna lie. Like it'd be like you need to have like 20,000 in the bank or have like 500,000 in real estate in the country, shit like that. Like that's for like permanent residency and like a visa and all that shit. Like I ain't gonna lie, I'm about to become an illegal. I ain't.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. So I think for many years we've always known that a lot of people, immigrants from other countries, migrate to the US and trying to search for a better life, and a lot of people are searching for this American dream. But surprisingly, for the past few years now, there has been a lot of Americans actually fleeing the US and leaving the country and going to search for life elsewhere. Like they're moving to different countries, and there's so many Americans that have decided to settle in other countries. And the reasons why they do this, there's so many reasons, and it's due to the economy instability in the country, how things are increasingly becoming so expensive. So things like that are the reasons why a lot of people are leaving, and they're like, this rent is just too ridiculous for us to pay, and we just rather just go somewhere else and pay a little amount to live there. We're going to be checking out videos on people actually leaving the US and choosing their own dream, because they feel like the American dream is actually living the US, and they have their reasons as to why they're leaving. So we're going to be checking out people's experience and why they actually had to leave and what their experience is in the new country that they decided to move to. But before we get right into this video, please make sure you click the like button. It helps the algorithm and I appreciate that so much. Let's get right into this video.
American citizens are voluntarily leaving America. How do I know this? I'm a real estate transaction coordinator. I've been a real estate transaction coordinator for about 15 years. I've owned my own business. It'll be 9 years in September. In the 9 years that I've owned my own business, I have closed over 7,000 real estate transactions. And I have never seen what I am seeing right now. Currently, out of the 11 listings that I currently have under contract and managing, 5 of them, 5 families, are selling their homes to move abroad. 5 out of the 11. So almost half. And every single one of those 5 homes are under contract for over $1 million. So that's telling me that the wealthy are leaving. Back in the day when I was closing over 120 transactions per month, I would maybe have 1 seller per year selling their home to move abroad. But to have 5 all at once and above the $1 million price point, this is North Carolina and South Carolina markets, okay? This is not California. This is North Carolina, South Carolina, okay? It's like, I'm not an economist, but this is like a red flashing light warning. I have never seen this in 15 years that I've been in the real estate industry. So, yeah. Just a little random factoid for you on this Wednesday morning.
Well, my husband and I have decided that we just can't do it anymore. We decided to break our lease early and to just leave the country as soon as possible. We're thinking Vietnam initially, then Thailand. Our plan so far is to work every single day until we get over there, to use Delta points to fly there, and to use Hilton points to be able to stay at least for free for the first 3 months. While I'm there, I plan on doing English teaching online to supplement income, but I do plan on having as much money saved as possible. Just need a mental break. At first I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna take a year siesta to get my life together and, you know, get my mental health together. But honestly, it's just so stressful being here. We don't know how long we want to stay gone, but we do know that we're going to travel a few countries, and we want to stay gone at least 2 or 3 years now. We are literally going to turn our whole lives upside down in the next 6 months. So if y'all have any suggestions, please let us know, because at this point we're just winging it. We're just going to sell everything, leave, and just take it from there.
So I live in China, and Chinese hospitality is totally different. So of course, we have a great relationship with our landlord, and our landlord randomly asked us what kind of vegetables or groceries do we like to get. And I just randomly said corn and rice. And today they actually brought over some corn and rice. And I even told them to make sure that it was packaged. And they made sure that we got packaged rice, because in China, typically in the grocery store, they like get a measuring cup and pour it in like a a grocery bag, like vegetable bag. But that is so sweet. Like the culture difference is so amazing. And then when they dropped this off, they were even like, what fruit do you guys like? And I was just like, mangoes and blueberries. And they're gonna bring us some mangoes and blueberries. That's super cool. What a reward for paying rent.
We lived in Thailand for a while, and don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful country, but here's why we ultimately made the decision to leave. As much as we love the calm, the food, and the culture, we personally felt like something was missing. The spiritual alignment just wasn't there for us as a family. As entrepreneurs, the economy structure in Thailand didn't support what we do for a living. It wasn't a place where we could thrive long-term financially. Then our children, they struggled to find consistent opportunities like sports, social life, and growth. We wanted them to have more access to youth programs, sporting events, things of that nature, but it's just not developed there. This is what they don't tell you about getting these visas. Every 180 days, we were spending hundreds of dollars to stay there legally. Why did we pay so much for a visa only to have to leave every few months and still pay 1900 baht to extend it? For a family of four, those costs, they stack up fast. Even after submitting notarized documentations to the U.S. government, the embassy, certified name statements, all of these applications, my children and spouse were still denied the DTV visa 3 times. And during the process, the requirements kept changing. And because of that, the system isn't really clear for families like ours. At the end of the day, we found a better opportunity. We left the country. No more red tape and a more affordable life without having to keep looking over our shoulders for another visa run. Thailand will always hold a special place in our journey. But for where we're going, we just needed more.
Video that I thought was really funny because the person was talking about him understanding the whole concept of illegal immigration, because when he checked all the immigration processes, like we're going to other countries, how difficult it is, he understands why people do that. Because I was searching for different countries that a person could travel to, and some of the demands that I see, immigration is definitely not easy because it has like some of them will require you to have some huge amount of money in your bank account while you're really broke trying to escape the place you are at, and then here to go with the visas and everything. It's just difficult. A lot of people are really finding very beautiful places that they are choosing to be at, and they're having very comfortable life, and they're able to just breathe and rest. For a lot of Americans that have lived a life with like hustle culture, always go 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 go, they get to just breathe and just take life easy, like on a slower pace than how it is in the US. Because there's a lot of notions that says that the US feels like a corporation, it doesn't feel like a country, and that's really the truth and the experience of a lot of people.
You know what nobody talks about with leaving the U.S.? The minute you leave, you know what you do? You go to sleep. Literally everyone I know sleeps for about a month. You know why? Because you're exhausted, and you don't even realize you're exhausted. All the things that you deal with, the news, the police, the misinformation, the president, just all these different things, high grocery prices, having to work all the time. When you leave, eventually you just go to sleep. Like I remember when I finally started healing, when like I started to come out of my own American like mindset. And my friend Lam from Vietnam, we were there, and he was like, "Hey, Cam, you know you can smile." And I was like, "I'm not smiling. I haven't been smiling this whole time. I'm having a good time." And I realized like how hostile I had to be and how aggressive I had to feel, and like just this facade I had to put on this whole time. But honestly, I'm chilling, especially here in Mexico. I'm chilling. So, I mean, I'm not saying come to Mexico, just leave the U.S. Even just go.
Look at where I am. Just look for a second. I live here. I live here. And I'm not saying this out of like, I live here. I used to live in a 1-bedroom box in New York City. I used to live in a 5-bedroom house in California. I used to live in a cul-de-sac in Oklahoma. And now, I live here. born here. I was born here. I was born here. And I left it. I was convinced that where the colonizers live had more opportunities for me, had better standards of living, the American dream. Oh, if you're not living the American dream, are you living? So I came, I ran, I chased, I worked, I ran on the mill over and over again until I realized, wait a hot damn minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Anyway, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but are you happy? Just ask yourself, are you happy? That's all I'm asking.
How do you make money, y'all? All I need to make is $20 a day to keep up this lifestyle. $20 a day is $600 a month. My rent is $135, $600 a month. From $135, I still got $465 to play with. Subtract $30 for my food, because my meals is $1. $1 times 30 days, that's $30. I still got $300 some dollars to play with. It's easy. Y'all, I just walked into the middle of a damn daycare. It was jump ropes in front of me, all type of stuff. But honestly, Thailand is really a beautiful experience, y'all. It's one of those experiences you just gotta be here to see it. Like, even if I was to record and show y'all kids playing, that's still not even that don't even do it no justice. But yeah, I'm just drinking my smoothie, pineapple smoothie. Enjoying life. Y'all be asking me all the time.
So it looks like a lot of us are looking at our options for moving outside of the United States. I am one of you. I have been researching this for years before this has all even happened. I've always wanted to live outside of America, and now my timeline is expediting. So these are all of the options that I'm exploring and all of the options that I found so far. First is teaching English abroad. A lot of countries like Spain, Japan, other European nations, whatever, have a lot of programs like this where you can go into a school and help teach English. I've met people that have done it before. It is legit. They help you with finding housing. They help you with your visa situation. Some programs you have to pay for training, some you don't. All you need, I believe for most, are a degree and to obviously speak English fluently, so not that hard to be able to do it. Then is work holiday visas. I know that Australia and New Zealand have a version of these. That's just a visa that requires you to work, usually in a more secluded area of that country. For Australia, I believe it's specifically you have to work an amount of days out of the 1 year stay that you're going to be there in a more secluded area of Australia, but there's many options. People have done it all the time, and it's a great way to save money because you're working there and you save money because most of the jobs are, you're going to be there secluded. It's like hotels or resorts or some type of service industry where they provide housing for you at a cheaper rate or free. Then, and you're able to save up the money. Then there is citizenship through bloodline / colonization. I know that Spain has a program for an expedited citizenship if you are a citizen of a previously colonized country. That's the route I'm most likely going to take because if you have an EU passport, it makes it easier to travel across the EU. That program that they have is if you were, like I previously stated, a citizen of a previously colonized country, instead of a 10-year track to become citizen, it's a 2-year track, which is much easier. And then I know Ireland has a similar thing through, I believe, bloodline. So does Italy. I think they might have closed their applications. I'm not sure. I was never going to chase Italian dreams. But, and then also another one is getting your education abroad that I haven't mentioned because I might get my master's abroad. That might be another way that I do it. So I know that it can be really daunting. It's not something that you're going to do tomorrow, but if you set up a game plan now, by this time next year, you could be living abroad, maybe even much faster. That's my goal right around now, is to look at all of these options, get all of my paperwork in order, especially for that citizenship through Spain, which I think is the most likely contender for me, or the work holiday visa. I don't know about teaching English abroad just because the pay isn't that great, but it's a livable wage for the country you're going to be in. As always, if any questions that you have, drop them in the comments. If you have lived abroad or have moved abroad successfully, please let us know. And if you want to follow along for a realistic journey of someone that's going to do it and that is planning on doing it, I am your girl. Anyways, bye.
You criticize one thing about the United States and they're like, leave. If you don't like it here, then just leave. I don't think most Americans realize how hard it is to leave the United States legally without risk of being deported back here. Like, it is incredibly difficult, even for you. Like, most of us don't have the mobility to do that. A lot of Americans are more akin to animals trapped in a cage. Like, there is no practical, plausible way for you to leave the United States safely without the chance you're just going to get sent back here. Like, that is what I think is crazy. And it's kind of odd that those people don't question that, because if a lot of people could easily leave the country, they would. And what that leads me to is, what happens if they're wrong and it is an autocracy? I'm just using this for them, not for you guys. We know it's a fucking fascism, autocracy. It's all coming. I mean, it's here. It's been here. It's just headed for white people now. Then what are they gonna do? Most of them are working paycheck to paycheck and living in the middle of nowhere. How are you gonna leave the country if you're wrong? I just don't understand the logic behind it. They're all like, don't trust the government, and then like, there they go, trusting the government.
Seeing a lot of people like moving from the US to different countries, and they're saying how we're getting scammed and how everything's way too expensive. I'm like, yeah, I walk out of the door and I'm already spending $200. There's people that moved to Thailand and Bali and they're living off of like $500 a month. My car payment alone is more than that. Like, if you have a remote job and you can go anywhere, get the fuck out of the US. Why are you here? If you're single and you have no responsibilities, I would bounce. You know what I mean? I'll get the fuck out of here. We're getting scammed, bro. Not only that, but these places are fucking beautiful. One of my friends just told me he went to Bali and his Airbnb was like $86 a day. And it was nice as fuck. It was like a 5-star Airbnb. That here would be like fucking $800 a night. I don't know, man. I just got my passport. I might be out of here in a few months. I'm not kidding.
The truth is, most people can't live in Thailand. And the truth is it's far harder to live out here than people make it look like, especially online. I've seen so many people come here and just get lost in the sauce for one reason or another. It actually takes an insane amount of self-discipline to live in Thailand. Thailand is somewhere where you can have anything you want, anytime you want. You can get what you want, when you want, whenever you want. And that is super, super dangerous for some people. You have to be so disciplined and you have to be a master of saying no. From going on to dates, from going out in the week because someone you've just met has invited you out and you want to make friends. A lot of people actually come to Thailand and say, oh yeah, I want to lock in and I want to do this and that. If you're the kind of person that's easily tempted, then maybe Thailand's not the place for you. And there's a big difference from coming here on holiday and living here. This place, if you do not treat it with respect, will suck you in and spit you out faster than you ever imagined. I know one kid that ended up coming here. He was working for his dad's business and thought it'd be a good place to lock in and work. Within 9 months, he ended up meeting a girl, getting her pregnant, got a huge drinking problem, which I think was already a problem before he came here, but hey, I'm not one to judge, not my problem. And he had to go back to the UK, and now this poor girl's 8,000 miles away with his kid. So just be careful, guys. I know it's so easy to come in. I know it's so easy to look on social media and think, oh, everyone's living this life in Thailand, and it's just pure bliss. But the truth is, it does take a certain type of person.
So I really thought that it was very important for me to discuss this because I've experienced going to one of the Asian countries. It was Vietnam, and the prices of things were really, really cheap and affordable. And I feel like if you live in the US and you move to other countries and maybe like, let's say the exchange rate actually works in your favor and you have this much money in your hands and things are very cheap, if you're not careful, you're going to be spending so much money. And it look like you're just spending like $2 at a time, like just $2 here, $2 there. The numbers actually add up. Like eventually you might be thinking you're spending little amounts, but you need to like take a step back. If you're somebody who is like you moved away, you should learn to like kind of manage your money. Yeah, things might be cheap, but take it easy. Except if you have like a lot of money coming in, then that's fine. But take it easy because it can actually add up. And you might not know, you might just get so excited and be like, oh my god, everything is cheap. I know a lot of people like to bring up this conversation about the locals are actually struggling, like things are not really that easy, and many foreigners going to a certain country actually makes and increases the cost of living for the locals. And that is absolutely true. It happens like that because a lot of like places that we used to see before, the rent used to be much lower,
If you are an American who is planning to move away from the US this year, this video is for you. I'm going to go over the things that you should keep when you're moving abroad and the things that you should go ahead and cancel. So the first thing that you'll want to keep is a US phone number, and the reason why you want to keep this is because you most likely use apps such as banking or investment apps that use two-factor authentication to send you a code through a text message or a phone call. And a lot of US banks don't allow you to use a non-US number for this. So you can actually cancel your US phone plan, but keep your current phone number if you port your number over to Google Voice. So that means that instead of being associated with your carrier, it is now linked to Google Voice instead. So you can do SMS and Wi-Fi calling, but you can't do iMessage or call using data. But if you're only keeping your phone number for two-factor authentication, then this is going to save you a ton of money versus having an international plan. Most two-factor authentications will work with Google Voice, but just to make sure, set this up a week or two before you leave. The second thing that you want to keep is a US address. A lot of banks and credit cards require that you have a US billing address, or else you risk your account being closed. And the IRS also needs a valid US address to send tax forms, refunds, and official notices. The best way to keep a US address is to use a virtual mailbox service such as iPost01. So the way this service works is that they scan your mail, they email you images, and forward your packages internationally. So you're able to access everything online. And iPost01, for example, starts at around $10 a month, so it's very affordable. But you can also just ask a trusted family member or friend to have your packages and mail sent to them instead. Moving on to the things that you can cancel is some insurances, such as health insurance, car insurance, and renter's insurance. Yeah, you can cancel that. If you have a visa, it probably requires that you already have health insurance valid in your new country. But if you don't have that set up yet, definitely get travel insurance. I've used World Nomads before, and it's really good. It's really comprehensive. It's pretty affordable, and it has really good customer service, which is important if you, say, get into a medical emergency. You can go ahead and cancel some streaming services such as HBO Max, ESPN, and Hulu. Those ones specifically will not work outside of the US. And you can freeze or cancel any credit cards that you won't be using overseas so that you reduce your risk of credit card fraud. All of my content is about how to live and move abroad, so if that's something that interests you, make sure to give me a follow to learn more about how you can do that.
U.S. Customs and Border officers have been setting up roadblocks, checkpoints for people who are leaving the U.S. as they enter Canada. So there's no border control generally. You just drive up to the Canadian border and the Canada Border Services deals with you. But now the U.S. is setting up roadblocks and stopping people and conducting inspections on them beforehand. Now, why are they doing this? Okay, right now it's kind of an innocuous thing. They stop people and they just talk to them for a few minutes and check out their vehicles, and everybody seems to get through because, people are coming to Canada and lawfully coming to Canada. They know that they're going to go through a Canadian border crossing that's going to be scrutinizing them as well. So right now, of course, there's no purpose for it, but they're getting you used to it. They're getting Americans accustomed to it because ultimately this is going to be used to monitor women who are coming to Canada for health services. A lot of health services are no longer available in the United States to women and young women. And many procedures are illegal in many states, and it's illegal to even cross the border and leave the country in circumstances where you're pregnant. And this is getting people accustomed to it, because not long down the road, they're going to be checking women, collecting information, and potentially prosecuting women, I would think quite likely. That is their intention for coming to Canada to obtain healthcare services. Don't say that this is not happening. This is happening, and you were warned about it by the Democrats in the election, and of course all sorts of other things that we predicted and have warned about in the contracting totalitarian authoritarian police state that the U.S. is becoming is of course playing out, and this is just another example of that playing out. And this is the worst nightmare for women who cannot obtain those healthcare services in the U.S. and are hence coming to Canada for them, because now the U.S. authorities are collecting that information. U.S. authorities are looking to obtain that information to prosecute women. That's coming next, okay? These roadblocks are just getting you used to it. That is the next thing. This is a frightening scenario.
Americans are finding peace in other countries? Why is it that we are learning to really, really love on ourselves? We are really learning what it feels like to have peace, to have freedom, to really unconditionally show ourselves the self-love that we deserve. Why is it that we have to leave and go outside of America to have access to quality health care, to have access to doctors that actually care about our health? Why is it that we have to leave America to actually get healthier? Why is it? Why is it that we can leave America? No one asks us about our credit. Why is it that we have to leave America to feel safe? Why is it? Why is it that so many Americans are thriving outside of the United States? And we don't have that type of thriving activity inside of the United States. Why is it that we have to leave America to have a sense of peace? Why is that? Can anybody answer me that question? Because inquiring minds want to know. Why is it that we can move outside of America and have a better life? Why is it that we can move outside of America and have the peace that surpasses even our own understanding? Why is that? Why is it that we can leave America and have true freedom and be seen for who we are? Why is it that when we move outside of America, we can be our true, authentic self? We can slow down and really enjoy life, eat great food that's not filled with all this stuff. Why is it? Why is it that we don't prioritize our mental health, but we can do it so easily outside of the United States? Why is it that my children haven't had to experience what it feels like for pow violence to be in their school? Why is it that I have not had to have the conversation with my Black boys about how they need to protect themselves because they are Black boys? Why is it that I haven't had nobody run up in my house and I moved to another country because they say I don't belong in that home? Why is that? Why is it that we can prioritize self-care and love on ourselves first, which in turns makes us love everyone else around us better? Why is that? Why is it that I actually can make it in another country? That I don't have to live paycheck to paycheck? That I actually can save? I can pay off a little bills, little student loans. Why is it that I can actually plan for my family's future, for my children's future, and I can actually breathe? My equilibrium can breathe. Why is that? Why is it that life outside of the United States is so much better?
Americans are leaving America, and it is not for vacation. It's for survival. A growing wave of Americans are packing up, terrified by Trump's dictatorship, Republican fascism, and Democrats' capitulation. Interracial couples, LGBT plus individuals, people of color, and intelligent people in general are seeing their rights replaced with restrictions. In Ireland, U.S. passport applications hit their highest level in a decade, up 60% in just 2 months. France is seeing long-term stay visas for Americans up 20%. Portugal, Spain, UK, relocation companies can barely keep up with demand. Traffic to Blacksit Global, which helps Black Americans relocate, surged 50% after the election. Some are leaving quietly, like a trans couple in Colorado, because Trump wrongly says there are only 2 genders. States are moving to ban gender care, so they're planning their exit. Google searches for how to leave the U.S. spiked after the election, and real estate deals for Americans in Spain surged before the Golden Visa program was shut down. European culture is different than American culture, and many won't adjust. And of course, Europe has its issues: immigrations, taxes. Putin expected to take Moldova and then Romania with his eyes on the rest of Europe for the new Russian Empire. But a possibility of another European war is a safer bet than staying in a country that is already a fascist dictatorship.
I'm an American. I pay $1,600 for a flat that has no bedroom. That's 2/3 of my income. I'm an American. I work 50 hours a week. I don't have health insurance. I'm an American. I couldn't afford to have a child even if I wanted to. I'm $7,000 in debt. I'm an American. My health is declining because I can't afford Whole Foods because that's too expensive for my life. I am very overqualified for my job, but no one else is hiring. I'm an American. I make my boss hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, while I can barely keep myself alive. I'm an American. I have never been out of the States. I have never been on a vacation. I'm an American. I make $20-some an hour. A livable wage here is like 30-some. Yet I don't qualify for government assistance whatsoever. On the days I don't work, I'm so tired I just sleep all day. I'm an American. My electric bill is so expensive I sit outside in the heat because I can't afford to turn the AC on in the damn house. I'm an American, and I fear I'm just an average American. I'm living the American dream.
Why I left the US and will never go back there. The biggest reason why I will not be returning to live in the US is because it is a failed society. I don't think that Americans realize that the way that they live is not actually normal when you compare it to the rest of the world. It's not normal to not have healthcare. It's not normal to be in crippling amounts of debt from going to school or going to a hospital. It's not normal to be afraid of gun violence, for there to be a threat of gun violence in your school. It doesn't matter if it's a developed country or an underdeveloped country. It's not normal to only have two choices when it comes to politics and who runs your country. It's not normal to have a 79% literacy rate and half the country cannot read above a 5th grade level. My family and I immigrated to the United States when I was 5 years old. And in that time, my mom worked herself to the bone. We barely saw our mother because she was always at work. She never had time for herself. She's barely gone on vacation. Her life has literally centered around work for the last 25 years. And so my mom essentially sacrificed her life and her happiness in order to work. And when I returned to the US after living in Europe for 3.5 years, all I was doing was working. I would wake up super early in the morning, commute for 1 hour, go to work for 8 hours, commute for another hour, and then I would have 2 hours to myself before I had to go to bed in order to do the same thing in the morning again. All for 2 weeks of vacation time. And I want you guys to know that this is not normal. In some countries, the minimum that an employee will get off of work is 6 weeks. In some countries, women get years off to spend with their newborn child. After my mom gave birth to my brother, she was back at work after 2 weeks. When I was going to school in the US, I constantly had anxiety that our school was going to be shot up. And this is not normal. I want you guys to understand it, because when I was talking to my friends who also went to school in the US, they said the exact same thing, that they always had anxiety that someone would come into the school and shoot it up. And so I essentially chose peace when I decided to leave the US. I do not feel any sort of allegiance to this country because the US does not have allegiance to me as a Black woman. Black women are overwhelmingly more prone to experiencing poverty than any other ethnic group in the United States. Black women are also more likely to die in childbirth in the United States. It has one of the highest maternal mortality rates. And so why should I choose to work myself to the bone for decades to get nothing in return, to not even be able to retire comfortably for a country that doesn't care about me?
You know, with this video, I'm not trying to say America doesn't have its good side or America isn't good. America definitely has its good side. Just like with every country, there's always bad and good. And in America, there's some people actually seeing it as a dream come true for them to live it is the same America that some people find it as a dream come true for them to actually come and be in it. So, you know, it's just different things and different individuals. We find opportunities in different places. We find comfort, we find home in different places. Some might find America as a home, while some will just feel like they have to go somewhere else to, you know, make it a home. So it's different realities for different people, and there's always problem everywhere. But you have to choose your problem on which one you want to live with. You know, sometimes people outgrow a place changes and doesn't feel like home anymore for them. So that's the reason why these people made those decisions. So what about you? Have you ever thought about leaving the US? Or if so, where would you go and why? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching this video to the very end. I really appreciate you. Please make sure you click the like button. It helps with the algorithm, and I appreciate that so much. And subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you're watching me for the very first time. Hit the notification bell to get notified every time I post a new video. I will see you on the next one. Bye.